So I had to be a black mask. Simple as that. I don't have to get a whole gorilla mask. It's just, come in and put the glasses over there. Not only are you safe from George Clooney, but you can see the gorilla mask that people are coming.
Hello and welcome to Corner Comics, your weekly comic book reading club. My friends and I get together and we talk about the comics that we've read this week. Gentlemen, Manuel, Russ, how you guys doing?
Let's see. I am safe as houses.
S- Safe as houses.
Yeah.
That works.
I have to think. I have to think about that one for.
I am abundantly alive.
Abundantly alive. So you
Does
have
that
more.
mean life is oozing from your pores like pus
Yep.
or anything?
From every orifice.
Or is that orify? Orifices?
All right. Let's see. I'm your host, Burkhoff. I should probably say that more often, even though it is my YouTube channel. Just let people know. You can find me on Twitter at Burkhoff, Berkough. I'm also starting my own website again, burkhoff.com. So you can go there to see my fiction writing. I've got 2 stories up right now, working on 2 more. Hopefully they'll be posted relatively soon. Gentlemen, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me at Walrus on Twitter. That's at WALLRUSS. You can also find me on blacksuperherofan.com as well as comiccreatorsofcolor.com and some others which I am currently working on to bring to the light of day.
You can find me on Instagram at Manuel, spelled EM_MAN_YOU_EL. And then also at EmmanuelTheStory.com. See you there.
Nice. All right, so we've got 5 issues this week because I decided to combine my 2 into one and go with the first 2 chapters of White Sand, volume number 1. Russ, which 2 issues are you bringing?
I brought Hidden Society #1 by Dark Horse and Quantum and Woody #1 by Valiant, both for 2020 books.
And Emmanuel?
I brought Infinity Wars Prime, issue #1, 2018 by Marvel. And then also Batman, Prelude to the Wedding, Part 2, Nightwing vs. Hush, #1, 2018. So I had to pick the longest title book ever, and I think I succeeded with that one.
How many subtitles is too many subtitles?
Do people number them?
It's just, you have like a title and then a subtitle and another subtitle. I think it's just a lot.
Right. I liked it. It worked for me. So, but yeah. All right. Getting into it, because we also have a bunch of roundtable topics to talk about as well. The coronavirus has birthed a plethora of free comic books and associated media on the web that we can dig into. So, getting into my first pick, my only pick this week, White Sand, volume #1. This was written by Brandon Sanderson, whom is an author that Russ and I both like. Traditionally does the big fat fantasy novels, ones that are so thick it's hard to open them. I'm surprised that he did a comic book, but I found this by using Hoopla. So, due to the coronavirus and everybody being quarantined, I decided I would jump on and check out Hoopla and see what was available. I was actually looking for some of his other fantasy novels, and this popped up, and I was like, what the hell? He wrote a comic book too? So I thought that I would bring that and see what your guys' thoughts were on it.
Okay, we going in?
Yeah.
Okay, so as you know, I do love me some Brandon Sanderson, and so the story building and the world building that I like is there. All right, good. I also like the art, hate the coloring. because it's all stark and sandy and it's like it's only using 3 or 4 colors. And I hate that, but it totally fits the story,
Right.
right? But I do like the hella detail in the faces, in the world. I am very happy with this. This is a all in all, I think this is a very good graphic novel. It's its own story. Everything is explained. There's a surprise twist at the end of almost every issue that makes you look a little deeper, and you don't know where it's going. Because every next issue always takes you somewhere. You know, by the end of the first issue, like, whoa, and then you got to see what's happening next. So all in all, I think this is a good book, a good read, great art, a feast in a lot of different ways. I just wish it had more than 4 colors, right? Like the one piece of fruit in there, you could pick out the one piece of fruit in the mountains because it's the only thing with a bright color, right? The mountains and the sand are all one color. You know, all the faces, the skin is one color and it's all similar. And then you get like, you know, so you very, you know, that part of it irked me, but I really, really like the story and I really like the detail of the art.
Manu?
I really liked the art as well. It reminded me of, those of you that don't know, Matt is an artist as well. It kind of reminds me of your artistry, Matt.
Okay.
The environment itself, it reminds me of just your lines and your creative use of lines. Now the faces are different, and I mean I appreciate the art for the faces here. The expressions are really good, and you know what? I would have to say that I like the color, the dull, the muted tone, sort of, because it's taking place in a sandy, not really vibrant environment. So you're gonna have the dull colors and the muted tones of the sand, of the rocks, and the people would reflect that as well. Their colors, you really won't see a lot of flashy colors because that's not in their environment. So I think that was indicative. I think that was on purpose, indicative of their environment, those muted tones. The storyline itself, I think was a bit predictable because it's the protagonist, he was already an outcast or he had something different than everyone else. And then when push comes to shove, you would see him stand out even more. So it's really already kind of laid his foundation within his relationship with his father. So I already knew from the beginning, okay, this is how this is going to play out. He's going to rise above and do something completely unexpected, but it's expected in the story. But that being said, overall, out of a 10, I think I would rate it a 6 just for, and it's only brought down just because of its predictability.
Okay. That's fair. What do you guys think of the magic system?
I don't feel like it's clearly explained. Either they're mutants. It seems like they're more mutants than magic.
Okay.
Because it's not really, because you don't see any other spells, right? Everything is based on your ability to manipulate sand, right?
Yeah.
So that seems more telekinetic or more, you know what I'm saying, mental power than anything else because no one else is doing, you know, no one else is raising the dead. No one else is making flowers bloom. So I don't feel like it's a magic system. I feel like it's a mutant system.
Okay. All right.
Because when they say, you know how you're born with a certain ability level and they pick how high you're going to rise because they see the power of your mutant power when you're young and they know that's the most you're not going to get rise above that.
Right.
So for me, it's more like mutants.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that was kind of interesting. Just the way that they describe how like they have to hold the water in order to manipulate the sand, and like you use up the water in your body when you do manipulate it and stuff. I thought that was kind of interesting. So there are some rules to it. The one thing that I will counter to Russ, your dislike of the colors, you can see plenty of murder. The red blood is there.
Yes. You notice I didn't say anything bad. Other than that one thing, all the murder, yes, there's a lot, especially in like the second issue.
Yeah.
There's like so much murder. It's glorious.
All right.
Yes.
Yes.
Tearing up, enjoy.
So beautiful.
So yeah, I was really surprised to see that he did a comic book. I'm probably gonna check it out. I think there's like 4 volumes total, so there's like
Hmm.
4 different graphic novels.
So I
Oh,
did read into the next one. Sorry for cutting you off.
sure.
I did read into the next one, and there was another surprise I didn't see coming.
Okay.
So I kind of like that, but I won't spoil it. I'll leave it up to like, which makes me say, as a graphic novel, I would definitely rate this as a good all around feast.
Okay. Cool. All right. Want to move on to the next issue? Russ, this will be your first issue.
Yes. So first of all, I picked something by Dark Horse because I believe Dark Horse is putting all their number ones online for free.
They are.
So if
Yeah.
anyone doesn't want to buy this book, they can go online legally and read the whole book as you wish. It's called Hidden Society by Dark Horse. And it's basically about uh, uh, sort of a magic task force being created by an old magician, pulling from all these different, so you get sort of intro stories to all these individual characters who have a different relationship with magic. What do you guys think?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I like the fact that you've got a diverse cast and a lot of different ways that you can take it. It's always interesting to have characters that are drastically different interacting with each other because there's unlimited possibilities, right? Um, so the core concept is good. I'm not so sure what they're gonna get into though. That's the crazy thing. I think it's like you could literally take this anywhere. So in terms of our first issue, if I think it's good because you can find a few characters that maybe you relate to or that you might be interested in, and it's worth going down that path. Um, I want to know what the hell happened to the bridge, though. Do they ever bring the bridge back?
Yes, in issue number two, it's
Okay.
discussed. Should you decide to go that far?
Yeah. So that was the one thing that they sort of like. Okay, I need to find out what happens with the bridge. The girl that they start with, though, I feel like we don't get a whole lot of her story. She
Ooh,
she.
yes. Issue two, homie.
Okay. All right. So it's all in issue 2.
Well, I'm just saying there's more reveals and more questions in issue two.
All right.
You had to give enough of an arc for each character in this one issue so you could consider following them.
Right.
So if you want more revealed, they ran out of pages, I'm sure. If you want more revealed, more is revealed in issue two. I like the kid's name, Jadu. That's a great name.
Yeah.
Emmanuel, what do you think?
I think the art was very much like a woman ordering pumpkin spice latte in October. Very basic. It was just, it was very just plain and basic, but that does not mean that it was a bad thing. It didn't detract from the story, but it didn't like give this story a great service either. It was there, so I appreciate it. The fact that it's like a Ocean's 11 kind of thing where you have this one agent assembling a task to do whatever. I don't know what the task is going to be, saving the world or whatever the case may be. But I like that. I like that process of picking this person, picking that person that specializes in this, and they're really not knowing what they've been assembled for. Something 18-esque, or maybe they're gonna save the world and end up ruining the world or destroying the world. Who knows? It has a lot of potential, and I really like just assembling the storyline of cast members. I like that. I appreciate that. So out of a 10, I'm gonna keep going with this grading scale. Out of a 10, I would give this a solid 7. I'm hopeful for progression, but a solid 7.
Yeah, for me, it was like Magic New Mutants number one. Like we're going to assemble some new mutants, right, to fight something they don't know about. And you don't know these new mutants. It's just that there's magic, not mutants, right? Like if this was a new Mutants number one with all new mutants, could easily be the same. It could be the same art. It could be the same type of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't know what all they can do. You don't know what their background is other than the little bit you see. So the idea is to say, is there something more you want to find out about? Like you said about that woman with the gun in the beginning. Like, is there more? Oh, and it's so much more. I have read issue two. It's not predictable.
Okay.
Let's leave it at that.
So this
I thought
is
she was actually going to be the villain that they were going to fight until she got recruited at the end.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And there's no guarantee she won't be.
This is one of four, right?
I don't know if it's one of four. I only think I think they're only on issue two.
Okay.
And with everything being paused, I don't know when we would ever see issue three. But
okay.
So it's easy to jump on this. And again, you can go read this book for yourself, which I invite you to do.
All righty. Moving on. Your next issue.
Okay. My next issue is Quantum and Woody. Now, okay, I have a love-hate relationship with Quantum and Woody. It's a Valiant book, so I do like the Valiant universe. It's like two best friends. The sort of story Quantum and Woody, they have sort of, I don't want to say cosmic level power, but they have great power. But if they don't touch wristbands every 24 hours, nuclear explosion. Right? So they're stuck with each other. Right? They grew up together, and there's a history there. There's like, Woody is the guy who is wild, doesn't wear a mask, and has all the powers that shoot at you, right? Quantum is the more conservative. He actually does push-ups, tries to get stronger and better, wears a mask and a costume, and his powers are more like shield capabilities, right? And they grew up together, but they're stuck with each other because if they don't clink those bands, you see somewhere in this book, they start eroding away and start to die. And so they're stuck together forever. And, Woody is kind of a dick. And Quantum is kind of allowing him to be a dick because what else can he do? But anyway, they have powers and they exist in the Valiant universe, same as Bloodshot and these other people. What do you think of this latest issue or the first issue, volume 4 of Quantum and Woody?
Quantum and Woody is pure chaos, and it seems like it should be a 90s sitcom complete with a catchy theme song about best friends hanging together. It's goofy and zany and very lighthearted. It's kind of easy to just kick back and not really get too involved, but you're like, what the fuck's up with the goat, and how does the goat fall into this, and why do they have that as a pet? And I do like the dynamic between the powers. One having the shielding capabilities, the other having the more aggressive powers to attack with. I'm kind of curious about they introduced this supervillain family that flies around at a house, and apparently the kids do go to school, but they were called off sick and didn't have to go to school so that they could go take on Congress. It's just it's out there, but it's fun and colorful, and I think to your point, Russ, you asked the question, how did you phrase it? Something about stupid people. Can stupid people be superheroes or something of that nature? I think this answers the question in a very affirmative yes.
There's some Deadpool-ish kind of, zaniness. This is what I like. This is, as far as that kind of humor.
Yeah.
There's some Deadpool, especially Woody is very much, Deadpool, who's not, he says a lot of the same type of jokes or whatever, right? But imagine if Spider-Man was tied to Deadpool and they had to be together all the time. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell, you know what I mean? And so, and if they grew up together. So I liked it for that reason. But anyway, I'm sorry, Emmanuel, what do you think?
Reminded me of The Tick. Saturday morning cartoon show. The Tick. Now, of course, there wasn't as much murder in the Tick as there is here,
Murder.
which I mean, that's that Rust signature is murder. But I really enjoyed it. It was a fun ride. It's something that I would take on again. Like I would see I would read the next issue just to figure out what happens, where's his visions coming from. He is lying about some things, but I believe he's truthful in others, Woody. And yeah, I really want to know the dynamic between Quantum and Woody because there's a panel. They don't look like they're biological brothers. They could be because there is a panel where they refer to a man as dad. So it didn't say your dad or my dad or our dad. It just said dad. So I don't know if one was adopted or whatever the case may be. So I'm interested in that dynamic and how their powers work. Because I was thinking I read some part where Quantum he got his name because he was connected to everything on a quantum level, even more so than he has ever felt before when he got his powers. So I think that's why he named himself Quantum. And if that's the case, if he is connected to everything on a quantum level, that those powers could be infinite almost, if written properly.
Yeah, unless he's an idiot, unless the character's an idiot.
True.
So the answer to their relationship and where the goat came from are in previous volumes. Right. So if you haven't read Quantum and Woody, if you want to know those stories, then they're there, and you can find a graphic novel easy. And you might be lucky because they've been out for a minute and find them on Hoopla and catch up on any of those things. So I love the library, man. It's killing it digitally. People should be using the library more.
If I was locked up during quarantine and I wanted some reading material, there's plenty of reading material.
There is.
That you could obtain legally.
Yeah.
Because if you're watching us online, then you can go online and even like I'm a member of multiple libraries. There's one library in Houston where I didn't even have to show up to get a library card. I did everything online. They gave me a library card and I could check out digital and audio books immediately.
Yeah, so the Las Vegas City or Clark County library system is like that as well. You can go online, get a digital library card number, and then immediately take that and go to Hoopla and sign up. We are living in interesting times, to say the least. But that was how I did it because I could not find my card, so I just signed up online for another one.
There you go.
All right, so moving on.
Oh, wait. I didn't get my rating on Quantum and Woody.
Right. Oh,
you're right.
Absolutely right. So, of the 10, I would give Quantum and Woody a solid 8, simply for the ridiculous factor and the potential. Ridiculousness is great.
Ah, yes, I'm winning. Okay, shall we move on?
Yeah. Manuel, your first issue.
First issue is Infinite Wars Prime. So this is number 1. If you're familiar with Infinity Wars, I'm sorry, not Infinity Wars. Infinity Wars. If you're familiar with the movie, blockbuster hit by Marvel, this came before that. This was in 2018. And around the same time, I wouldn't say necessarily before, because they borrowed from a lot of the same elements. You'll remember some of the characters. Some of the characters are new. Adam Warlock, if you've only been introduced to Marvel by the movies, you won't recognize Adam Warlock, but you do have Doctor Strange. You do have Captain Marvel and Thanos, obviously. So it's a good ride. It's number 1. So this is a good starting point to kind of be familiar with characters you already know and introduce other characters as well. So this is following the storyline of the the Infinity Gems. Soul Gem, Mind Gem, Reality, Power, Time, and Space. And each gem has a keeper. And it's a story of if they're going to be collected, if they're not. And these characters that you already know and love, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Drax, Black Widow, they're all intertwined in it as well with the introduction of some new characters. I think it's a really good run. What do you guys think?
Man.
So I really like the art for this book. The art really took me back, and made me think, because there's a lot of arbitrary boxes, and I think that was definitely done intentionally. And I think it was done to sort of subvert the idea of sequential art and having panels, because the way that it's done, you have these boxes that don't really section off parts of the art that you're supposed to be looking at, but section off just random pieces of the art, and sort of changes the way that I was looking at it. I was focusing less on the dialogue than I was on how it was sort of put together compositionally. That being said, I do agree, Emmanuel, with some of your notes about like this would have been a cool or better version of the Infinity War movie, because I think that it's got potential there with a lot of characters. The only problem with that is, of course, like Adam Warlock was never introduced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or hasn't been yet, so you would lose people if you just sort of threw him in there. There's also references to other characters that I don't think that they've ever alluded to or brought into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like Kang. But Doctor Strange was very prominent in this issue, so I was happy about that. He's one of my favorite characters. And extremely reckless with the time stone. He's like, yeah, of course I'm holding the time stone.
So, oh man. Okay. Oh, please don't continue. Go ahead.
I'm done, Russ. What are your thoughts?
All right. So I love the art too. I love the overall presentation and the squares and the blocking and all of that. I think that made this feel like a prestige book in that respect. If your way into this is only from the movies, there's a lot here that you may not get.
Yeah.
Right? Like the connection between all the stones to each other. Like, who is Loki talking to? Like, who is Adam Warlock? Like, who is the person killing Thanos? And who is it that could even kill Thanos with one stroke? Right? There's a lot here. So I feel like if you don't have already a vested interest in the forwarding of these characters, then it might not be for you. When you look at the end of the book and all the different stories, you talk about how this could be Infinity War. Well, this story is like what, 20 books long, right?
Is it that long?
So you would not have been able to see 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, yeah, more than 20 books for the whole thing.
Okay.
Right. So if you really wanted all this story, you're gonna have to buy 20 books. This is an event, right? This Prime, there is no Infinity Wars Prime 2. Right? This is the intro to the series that you can find Infinity Wars 1 and 2, or 1 through 4, Infinity Wars with different individual characters, Infinity Warps, which is a whole nother conversation, which we could get into if you wanted. Like Iron Hammer they did something where they combined 2 universes, and Iron Hammer is a combined character of Thor and Tony Stark. All right.
Right.
So there's a lot of Soldier Supreme is Captain America, and so there's a lot more here. You would never be able to fit this in a 2-hour narrative, right? This would have to be a series of movies, right? You would have to, just the whole Soldier Supreme, that's a whole movie by itself. You know what I mean? You don't do that in 15, 20 minutes. So I feel like it couldn't be fit. I like the how the storytelling works. I do like that mechanic in this book, but if you want to go further with this, it's going to require you to invest in a lot of books that may or may not be collected.
They couldn't have just introduced this version of Infinity War after leading up from Iron Man 1 and Captain America and all those other subsequent Marvel movies. They couldn't just have put this there, but it had to have led up to that point and introduced Adam Warlock and and all these other versions of the characters, because there is a sequence in the beginning of the book where Loki is reading different books of multiverse versions of himself. So he exists in all these different stories, and he's in the library, this Asgardian library, and he's reading all these versions of himself where he never wins, he never succeeds because he's Loki and written as the villain. But in order for this version of Infinity Wars Prime to have been on big screen, you have had all those characters lead up, all the subsequent books lead up to this event, just as our Infinity War in this Marvel Cinematic Universe, Iron Man and Thor and all those other movies led up to that event.
So you were saying another 10 movies?
Yes. Which, I mean,
all new actors.
I'm completely entertained by them. So yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I looked it up on Wikipedia. I do see the number of books that are tied into this, but I think you can probably get the main story from Infinity Wars 1 through 6, right?
Yeah, but they're going to be characters showing up, and you're not going to know their motivation or how they affected things if you don't read the other books.
True.
Right? Like if Sleepwalker shows up, you're like, who the fuck is this guy? Right?
Yeah. I don't know. I would probably like as Guardians of the Galaxy. I would read that. I may read like Thanos Legacy. I don't know that I would read all the other stuff, but I would read the main Infinity Wars and maybe a couple tie-ins. So I think you can get away with it. I think you can get away with just reading a few books. You wouldn't have to read all 20.
Okay. If you say so. No arguments.
Moving on.
Yes, we're moving on.
Yeah.
So, Batman, Prelude to the Wedding, Nightwing versus Hush, issue number 1. And this was 2018 as well. This is a DC comic. Now, this is what I think is sort of a bottle episode. I know it's a issue. A bottle episode in which the majority of the story takes place in a confined space. You have the backstory. The premise is Batman is getting married to Catwoman. And they made a really big distinction. Bruce Wayne is not getting married to Selena Kyle. So their alter egos are not getting married. It's Batman marrying Catwoman. Really weird, but I guess like there is some suspension of disbelief you have to have with this. But I like it. I like the interpersonal relationships between the three guys, the three guys on the bachelor party, Superman, Batman, and Nightwing. And then, no one can really live a great life in Gotham. So chaos ensues. What do you guys think?
I'll go. Very good Batman-esque art. Enjoyable art. All the movement, the look of Gotham City, all of that fits. Court of Owls like looking type stuff. All of this fits. Just the art alone would make me think this takes place in the Batman universe. Batman smiles way too much in this book. You get a Batman. You're only really allowed one Batman smile per book. Otherwise, you worry that Batman is high, right? So Batman smiles no less than 3 times per book, and then has a heartfelt talk where he leans back like this. Does Batman lean back like this? Heck no, but he does here, right? So I'm like, well, this is a whole new type of Batman, and I like him. The dynamic between him and Nightwing. And Nightwing is grown, and he can talk to Batman however he wants. He's the only one who can, really, right? But then Batman smiles, and then Batman does the lean back. What book ever has Batman does this kind of lean? Even Bruce Wayne doesn't lean like this, right? So, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all of it. I enjoyed the ride. I enjoyed the art. Just a smiling Batman threw me off. Like even Superman and Batman shaking hands, and Batman is smiling. I'm like, What? How do you even draw Batman with a smile? I thought you have to have a special class for that, right? But all in all, I really enjoyed the book, and I had read this before, and I enjoy all of this series. Didn't really like the quick look at Batgirl, so we're kind of crazy, but everything else fits. The story was good. It was enjoyable. I got the motivation of all the characters. Why, who, when, how. Uh, uh, I was never really like wondering where, except for the guy with no eyes. Like, what's that about? But maybe he was just call him MacGuffin. Uh, and all in all, I enjoyed the book. Good book. Interesting. Batman smelled too much. There you go. What do you say, Matt?
So normally I would not be into this because it's too campy. But as I was reading through this, I was thinking about a conversation Russ, you and I had a long time ago when I brought up the fact that we were talking about Batman movies. And I was like, well, the best Batman movie is the '66 movie, and you're like, you're crazy. That that was horrible. Um, with the dehydrated UN panel and everything, right? So I was thinking about that as I was reading it, and I was like, you know what? Normally I would not be into this, but I just have to step back and enjoy the camp. And once I did that and I got into that mindset, I love this book. Like, this does a lot of different things. I'm cool with the smiling Batman. I like that. I like the guy with no eyes, who's clearly a ripoff from Big Lebowski. He's the dude from Big Lebowski.
Yes.
Very, very clearly, right? The fact that they go into this alternate dimension and there's really no explanation for it. It's like the lightning door passed them through to this other dimension. Like, okay, whatever. I'm just along for the ride, and it has like Super Friends vibes to it, right? Like, why are they riding in a car in their full suits? Like, that just doesn't make any sense, right? Like, Batman should be in his Batmobile, Superman should be flying, but here they've got all three of them in the back of a limo, and there's a robot Superman driving, and you just have to accept that that's what's happening. So yeah, all in all, like, great art. The story was camp, but it was highly enjoyable, and yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say. I do want to read Batgirl versus Riddler, which is the end of this issue. And I will probably dig into all of these if they're all just as campy.
There's a winner there.
Yeah.
What was missing for me was when Hush and Nightwing were battling the faceless foes, the guys that lost their identity. Just Hows, the Whams, the Kachows, all of that. That would have sealed it for me. But I think they probably didn't go that route on purpose because they wanted to be a little bit less campy. But yeah, I agree with all of you guys' assessments.
That was a missed opportunity. I'm looking back through it right now. I'm like, yeah, they could have taken it there. You get one thunk. There's a thunk in there. That's
I like a good thunk.
Yeah. But there's no whammies.
Oh man.
Unfortunately.
And to your point, Russ, there's an animated, I think it's one of the more recent Justice League television series where Superman and Batman are playing good cop, bad cop, and they're interrogating. I forget exactly who it was, and they switch roles. So Batman is playing good cop, Superman is playing bad cop, and Superman really doesn't know how to play bad cop. So he's like, "Tell me." Oh, did I hit the table a little too hard? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Like he's slipping in and out of the role. Whereas Batman is like, "Would you like some water?" And it's Deadshot. So Deadshot's like, "No, is it poison?" And he's like, "No, it's not." And he smiles, and Deadshot's like, "Why are you showing your teeth? What's going on?" Like he was so taken aback by a nice Batman to where that freaked him out more so than Boy Scout trying to be bad, and he just gave up everything.
I remember that.
So yeah, I understand. Batman smiling is very unsettling.
I like it. I like a good smiling Batman.
Sinister.
All right, so that does it for all the issues that we picked this week. We've got a number of items on the roundtable at the end of the Google Doc, though.
Hope I didn't overdo it.
No, not at all. I do like the fact that a couple of our picks were stuff that you can find free online right now. If you're going through Hoopla or Dark Horse's website or Valiant's website. Valiant's Twitter account is every day, I think, is a new comic that they're releasing. And the cool thing about Valiant is they're giving you a link for the PDF. So you just own it forever. You can download it to your own hard drive, save it wherever you want to save it. I'll probably send you guys a couple Google Drive links after this is over with some of the stuff that I've downloaded if you don't already have it.
If possible, can you put the Dark Horse link
in the
in the show notes?
Yeah, I can do that, absolutely.
Because there's a lot of books here, and if you find, I mean, there's a lot of first books here, and they're everywhere. There's books about Stranger Things. There's Battlestar Galactica. There's a Minecraft book. There's an ElfQuest book. They're so all over the place.
Overwatch, yeah.
Overwatch, Red Sonja, StarCraft. World of Warcraft. There's a whole lot here to read. You could just go through these one by one, and that might even Smite the game has a Dead Island, Hellboy, Plants and Zombies, Mass Effect.
Yeah,
there's so much here to read that you could just go to town and not worry about the fact that you're not buying any books, and not worry about that because you're not stealing, because they're letting you get all these for free.
No, and I think it's like 100 books total. So the only caveat to the Dark Horse one is you have to create an account with their website. And you have to read it on either through their app or through their website. So that's the one caveat. If you have any, I mean, I don't have any hang-ups with creating an account or whatever, but if somebody does, I think that's the only thing that would stop
No credit
them.
card required, just username and password.
Right. Yeah. Let's see.
Marvel to Raphael Albuquerque. He actually did the cover art for the Batman series or issue that I chose today, and then also Hidden Society, Russ, your pick as well. So to shout him out, you got 2 credits.
You didn't like his art. You thought he was regular on my book, but you all like him on your book. That sounds a little suspect to me.
I mean, it's not the artist himself; it's the artistry. The artistry in that book, I didn't like so much.
Okay, I hear you. I'm just messing with you, man. You're good. Okay, so moving on. The next thing we have, Marvel and DC will delay digital comic books during brick and mortar closures.
Yes.
So no new Marvel or DC for a minute. Time to catch up on your collections. Get over it. This is what it is.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think this is the right decision for them to make. If they had continued releasing digital books, I think they would have disincentivized people from going out and picking up the physical issues. And I think that the publishers still rely on brick and mortar shops to get people interested and keep them interested. I think comics are surviving by collectors. And when you sort of alienate them, you're just asking for trouble. So I think that this is the right move. It kind of sucks that we don't get any new books probably for a couple of months, but now is the time. I've got plenty of shit in my Comixology account that I need to catch up on. I got all these new free books that I just downloaded. I can dig through my physical boxes and find shit that I've probably never read. You know what I mean? So
some of the qualms I have had with people that didn't want to read comic books was because it's too much for them. They don't want to start at issue number 57. There's all this backstory. Well, since they're putting a pause on all these comics, you have a time where you can read and semi catch up on an issue. And when they do start again, you'll be current, you'll be up to date. You can dive in with everyone else on these bi-weekly basis or monthly basis. However, I think it's good news.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see here.
Next thing I put is they did a web series for Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe. Now, this is all campy and corny, but it's got everybody. It's got Bloodshot. The guy who plays the Green Ranger is Bloodshot. But it introduced you to all the characters, and it's a web series, so you understand that there's a budget issue and there's a campy issue. But Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe, the complete web series, is on YouTube. And if you never heard of any of these characters and you want to see what they might look like in real life, this might be the way to do it. Yeah. Because all these movies are coming out. You know what I mean? Ultimately, Valiant is trying to create a movie for each of these characters. So if you want to play, if you don't mind it being campy, I say check it out.
Did you
Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe? Yes.
Did you watch this, Emmanuel? At all?
I haven't watched this.
Okay. You need to watch this. It's an hour long. Even just skipping through it. Just boot it up, skip to a couple different parts, watch a few minutes, and move on if that's all you need to do. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised because when you posted this link, I was like, "What is this bullshit? Let me watch this." Yeah, it's clearly low budget, but I think they do a good job with the outfits and the acting matches that it's low budget. So you're like, okay, whatever, I can buy into this. Yeah, they had fun putting this together, I think, and that shows more than the fact that they didn't have the money that they probably would want to spend on the special effects and all that stuff. Yeah, definitely worth your time if you are a comic book fan in any capacity. Totally worth it. Let's see. Today's
same guy. There's I'm kind of perusing through the scenes here now on YouTube, and there's this guy that I think plays some web series version of Nightwing.
Yeah, it's the same company, Bat in the Sun. I think they were behind doing this. So if you like what they do, then you're just going to get more of that.
Awesome.
All right, I think the next link you posted is similar to them talking about stopping digital comics, new digital comics, right?
No, someone came up with a way that this could work. They create a company, and basically the software for comic shops. So you could order a comic from a comic shop if they agreed to set this up. And if you ordered it, it would be mailed to you at a later date, but you would get a digital copy online immediately. And I thought, what a great way to do it, because you can read the books and it's going to come to you if you're a collector, right? When it's available to come to you. So you still own it, but you never have to ruffle through the pages because it will all be pristine when you get it.
Right.
And you will have read the story. And I thought, wow, this could save everything, right? And then a few days later, CBR put another article and said, oh, no, it's not going to work. Right. I think they didn't get enough buy-in from different comic shops. So there's two articles in that link. The original plan was to order comics through Comic Hub, and then because retailers would be able to be connected. And so the retailers would still be able to get their money, and people would be able to get digital copies. I would play this anyway, right? Especially if it's 10, 20% off cover price. If I could have it delivered to me,
yeah,
and I can read it digitally, that's perfect, right?
Yeah, I think my biggest issue with DC print comics and some of the others is the fact that it doesn't come with a code like Marvel books do. When I buy a Marvel book, I can plug in the code and read it digitally. I'm also earning points on my Marvel rewards and all that kind of stuff, and I can use those points to get wallpapers or whatever additional digital comics if I want. I don't know why other publishers don't do that. I mean, unless they know that Marvel's taking a loss at some point, and the reason that they're doing it is just to get this stuff out there. I don't know. I'm not really sure.
I'm hoping that something inventive. For first, when the opportunity came up, I thought it was really inventive. This is a way that we can change how comic books are distributed in a way that stores can stay open and we can get digital copies, and no one is. It removes all barriers to entry into the comic book conversation because you can get old comics, new comics, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping something new and innovative will come from that, but we shall see. Next thing I had was we talked about Valiant releasing first issues, so you just can follow them on Twitter, and uh, and you can see all the different links for each books that you can download directly, including Bloodshot, Doctor Mirage, the Valiant, because we read the Valiant, I think. It was a year
Yeah.
ago.
I don't know if it was the same run, but yeah, we did read the first issue of that.
Mhm.
Um, I think they've got entire graphic novels too, because I think volume one of Exo Manowar was one of the ones that they linked and you can download. So I mean, you're getting entire graphic novels from these guys.
Mhm.
They're like, here you go. Everybody's at home. Read some of our books, which I think is genius. I mean, you're gonna probably get a lot of people that wouldn't have otherwise read their books and may be interested. Will download these free ones and probably buy additional books just to keep up on it.
Mhm.
So, and
Uh,
then
Go ahead. I'll leave that one to you.
we're gonna do the last one. Ultra Instinct Goku versus Cosmic Thor. Which final form is stronger and why? So this is an article from CBR. Clearly, somebody is watching Corner Comics, and that makes me happy because Russ, you brought this up a month or 2 months ago. You're talking about when we first talked about the new Thor run. You're like, who wins in a fight, Goku or Cosmic Thor? And how do you define the power? We'll link to this article as well in the show notes because they do a pretty decent job of sort of breaking it down. I think. Um, I
I'm
haven't
waiting for
read.
the death battle. I want the death battle guys to do this.
Yeah, for sure.
Amazing visually.
Yeah. And now, we already couldn't quantify Thor's power before. Now, because they say something about exponential increase. That's not written anywhere, right? We don't know if it's
No.
double or exponential. See, this is a point where you really get, uh, how you really don't know. You're like, oh, Goku can beat Superman. Like, how do you know? Right? How much can Goku bench press? Can he bench press a planet? You know what I mean? Superman can.
Right.
Right? So how do you know? Or like saying that Thor is equal in power to Superman. I haven't seen Thor bench press a planet either. But people say, oh, because he's a god, that automatically, right? But Loki's also a god, and he can't bench press that kind of stuff.
Right. Right.
So being a god doesn't make you Superman level. So it's interesting to have a dialogue where you actually have to bring proof that they are at a certain power level in order for you to be able to have the conversation that they're equal in power instead of just, I feel like, you know what I mean? Because here's the thing, is Shazam the same power level as Superman?
I don't know if have they ever addressed that.
I wouldn't.
I don't know. That's
They
what.
well, not the same power level, but the battle between the two, because Superman's Achilles heel, one of his Achilles heels, is magic,
Yeah, but
and
see,
therefore,
here's where that statement I think falls flat.
mm,
Everybody's Achilles heel is magic, except Doctor Strange, right?
mm,
But if you're hitting Superman with a physical punch, that is irrelevant to. He's not magic isn't kryptonite. He just has no special defense. Neither does Batman or anybody else. So just because Shazam is magic, he's not transforming Superman into a frog. He's hitting him with a physical punch or shooting him with
right.
lightning. So what does that mean in that is Superman's Achilles heel?
I would say because I don't. I honestly I do not know because he has the powers, the composite powers of all these other gods, right? The strength of Hercules, the speed of
Mercury.
Hermes, and all these. So I don't know if Hercules were to punch Superman and Shazam were to punch Superman. don't know if Shazam's power or his punch would make a greater impact because he is magic based, whereas Hercules not necessarily because I don't know. I really
Yeah,
don't.
see, I don't the magic. So here's what I mean by magic base. Like, what's more powerful, mutant power or cosmic power? Just because it says cosmic, is it more powerful? Because, for example, the Fantastic Four is cosmic power. Does that mean they're automatically more powerful than mutants? So when you say magic power, what does that mean? If you're
Right.
not actually doing spells, it's just a power source. It doesn't mean you're doing any, right? Shazam has a magic power source. But what is he doing that is magic? He's just physical hitting, and Superman can take a punch, right? Now, if he was casting a spell, say Superman weakness, Superman weakness, Superman weakness, then okay, I'll go with that, right? But he's not doing that. He's shooting lightning. Well, Superman can handle lightning, yes?
Yeah.
So what does being, and see, this is what I think people say, oh, because it's magic, that Superman, magic is not kryptonite. 90% of the superheroes in DC Universe are also vulnerable to magic, right? Flash is vulnerable to magic. He's not less vulnerable than Superman, right?
Yeah.
So I don't, the whole thing because it's magic and Superman gets weak. I don't, right? It's Goku magic.
And Shazam has the wisdom of Solomon. So
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that play out really, because if he was super smart in his actions, he could fight Superman and infuse punches with magic. And every time he punches him, it decreases his Superman's power level or decreases, replenishes
Yeah, but
the solarized.
wisdom and intelligence are two different things. What would you say the definition of wisdom is? I can explain the definition of knowledge. It's facts you accumulate over time, right? But he's not knowledgeable.
But
He's not
then,
smarter.
but yes, well, he has fought Superman in the past. So wisdom would dictate try something else, try a new tactic, do it from a different approach, learning from your mistakes, taking that information and compiling or looking at it from a different perspective. I believe that would be wisdom.
I get your logic, but wisdom to me, and this is using, Wallacoscopic knowledge here. Wisdom to me is the best use of the knowledge that you have.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if I learn how to do something and it becomes knowledge, but if I can apply it in different situations, then it becomes wisdom, right? But if Billy is a boy and has limited knowledge, he can only be wise with the knowledge that he has. Yes?
Yeah. I would say that that's the main argument for why Batman could beat Superman, right?
Yes.
Um,
Okay, speaking of Batman and Superman, I know we don't have a lot of time. I gotta say this. Superman Red Sun is now in my top 5 DC animated movies.
of all time.
Oh my goodness. Of all time. Like I
All right.
put in the top 5, same place I put Red Hood. It is
Okay.
the top for me is now in my top 5 DC animated movies. You need to watch it.
All right.
If you are a true fan, I'm telling you. Because if you list your top 5 animated DC movies, can you give me some of your top 5? Obviously Batman Red Hood. Who else you got? Who's your top 5?
I really like Justice League Dark. I thought that was
Okay.
phenomenal.
Okay, I'll give you that. And I'm hoping this new one will be even better.
Yeah.
Because it's
Unpopular opinion, guys. All Star Superman.
Okay, I'm not mad at that. I like what is the one where it takes place in the older times, like 40 years ago, where Batman is scarier and he scares Martian Manhunter. What is that? It takes place,
Yes, I know which one he's talking about.
right?
With President Kennedy.
Yeah,
as
yeah,
the,
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I like that. That is in my top 5. By the way, President Kennedy shows up in this one too, and Eisenhower, and everything you think about. It's really it makes you think. All of that. It is, and I liked the graphic novel. Just put some extra cheese on it that I really like. Made the burger
Now,
tastier.
without spoiling it, did
Mhm.
you read the twist at the end?
Uh, the,
Um, I don't want to spoil it, but did you read the twist where you find out the origins of Superman and Lex Luthor and all that?
yeah,
Did you watch it or read that? Okay.
yeah, I watched all. So you seen it?
Yes.
Okay. Did you enjoy it?
Oh, yes,
Would
definitely
you put
enjoyed
it
it.
in your
What really
would you
captivated me was that twist at the end.
yeah, would you put it in your top five? I didn't say it could
Yes.
be the fifth one.
No, I could put it in my top five
There you go,
because
Matt.
it blew me away.
Yeah, see? There you go, Matt. It's in the top five from two different versions. And I know you're not a DC dude, yet you know it's quality animation because that's what DC does.
Right, and this is based off of the Mark.
Great. Based off the graphic novel, yes.
Okay, so
With some extras added.
yeah, I like the premise. I like the idea, and I flipped through the graphic novel.
But it's tasty in your mind when you talk about concepts and how the world should work and what you have the power to do.
Right.
Because my all-time pick for leader of the comic book world, Earth, is still Doom, right? Without a doubt,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you stick me into the DC only universe, I have to pick Luthor,
Right.
right? Who better than to manage the whole world with all the politics and everything? Who else can do it?
Well, I think that's why they made him president for a while, right? I mean-
Yes, yes. So I think really, if you're a DC animated movie fan, it is a treat. It visually looks good. It gives you a lot to think about, and I'll leave it at that. You can always go see the graphic novel. I think the graphic novel is probably animated somewhere on YouTube. So if you
Oh,
wanted to see
yeah.
it that way,
Yeah, there are some people out there doing that kind of stuff.
yeah.
I would say the other one that was pretty good was Son of Batman.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
But like I said, that only gives you five. And it's not like any of them were actually bad or terrible, even though I could probably pick one. The one with Manchester Black, where Superman had his big old super chin or whatever, that irked me every time. But I think Superman Red Sun is now firmly in the top five.
Where in the top five?
Lower. I mean, you can't take away from Red Hood, right? I mean,
Okay.
what's better than Red Hood, right? I feel like, what's better that, you got the violence, you got the emotion. I feel like nothing really beats Red Hood is just hard to beat.
Okay.
There's certainly no animated Marvel movie that's in that, that makes you
Yeah,
give you
a
those
lot
kind
of
of feelings.
heart too.
Yes.
Oh, that heart.
So I feel like if I had to pick a number one and you gave me no choice, I would say Red Hood and you would not be able to argue against me.
Okay.
Right? Everything else becomes a little more subjective, right? Like I like the one where they have the what is it, Justice League Doom?
Oh, yeah.
No, which one is it, Justice League Doom or the one where they had Ultraman, the evil Superman, right? And the evil Wonder Woman and the evil Shazam family, right? I don't know which one that is, but that's in my top five also.
It is Justice League Doom, I think.
Yeah, so Justice League Doom is in my top five. What is that Justice League I talked about before? The one that takes place a little farther in the past.
Frontier, a New Frontier.
New Frontier, DC New Frontier. That's
Okay.
in my top five,
Okay.
right? And after that, you can go a lot of different places. You know what I mean? Where there's a lot of good stuff, but do you put in your top five like firmly? Those three I put firmly in my top five,
Okay.
right? So we have to have another discussion after you watch it.
Fair
Okay.
enough. We can do that. Yes.
Yeah. And then we can see whether it fits or if it's better than those. But those are my three.
Okay. All right. Any final thoughts beyond that, gentlemen?
Oh, comic shops are open, y'all. They do pull lists. A lot of them are still open. They do pull lists and they'll bring them out to your car, a lot of these places. So you
Yeah.
can still get your comics. You just get to wait in the car and they'll come and get it if you know what you want. And support the comic shops that have been supporting you, right? Please, because if that goes away, we're only going to know about the books that are famous and not about the books that we should be reading and we may be missing out on because we walked into a comic shop.
True.
So please support them.
Manuel?
Same about that.
All right.
Yeah,
Are you-
wear your mask.
Are you have you changed your position on X-Men at all?
Oddly enough, no.
Oddly enough. Did you read our books from last week? Because you weren't here. Did you read those?
I
'Cause
did. I did, and I actually watched the cast as well. And
Okay.
no,
Dang it.
All right. On that note, Manuel's still not an X-Men fan.
Still not making sense. Look like a thug.
even if I'm protecting myself from the wrong